Blessed be my witches, my spiritualists, and welcome to another episode of Witch Please. It is I, Odin the Seer, and today we're doing another chapter of What You Heard. And today we're going to be talking about your inside reflecting your outside and vice versa. So I don't know if a lot of you know about what is called soul mind, and that science is now starting to prove that what you feel inside will be reflected in your outside. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that old terminology, everything is a reflection of you. And that is true, but I think we need to break that down a little bit for people. Everything is quote unquote a reflection of you, and because your insides actually affect your outside, there's a potency and a power in there that people sometimes overlook. We feel that if our life is going shithouse, or as Germans like to say, shaps, that this is a reason for us to get on our own case and give ourselves a hard time and add stress and all this other conflict that's only going to perpetuate your external being more in disarray. A reflection of you is basically a reflection to show you where there's areas that you need to work on. It provides you the opportunity to say, you know what, this right here is not exactly where I want to be, and it's not exactly what I want to experience. So obviously it is time for me to delve a little deeper inside of myself and figure out why it is that I keep on manifesting these things in my reality. It's such an important and really such an easy concept if you think about it. I have so many people who come to me and are always trying to get a magical fix. I once had a client who was having a very difficult time with his spouse, and rather than doing the work that needed to be done with which to be able to change that from being a regular occurrence in his life, he opted to come and have cleanses done on a regular basis to keep that energy at bay. And finally I had to tell this person, listen, I'm not going to be doing cleanses for you. There's obviously some work here that needs to be done, and the best thing for you to do is to work on said areas. Sure, a magician can dissipate that energy. Sure, a magician or a root worker or a conjurer can, alleviate that vibration that is surrounding you. But is that really effective? Teach a man to fish, my witches, and they will eat for a lifetime. And that is what I really wanted to kind of talk about today. I wanted to get people to understand that yes, magic can help facilitate change. And yes, magic has a huge power when it comes to being able to create a platform for you to be able to grow and evolve and have experiences that you want. But it is not a fix-it, okay? It is something that allows you or provides you paths and support to work on these things yourself. Magic is not a way for you to avoid this reality and experiencing it in its entirety. When I get those comments, oh, this is going on in my life, 9 times out of 10, I will find that this is not just a one-time thing. This is a recurring thing, a reoccurring thing that continuously happens in these people's lives. And they go to one root worker or another root worker or a conjurer or this or that, or the priest, the rabbi, right, the imam, always asking for some sort of way out. You are in your body for a reason, and you are the creator of your destiny. If you understand this concept, if you make this concept part of your knowledge, your easily attainable knowledge, then you will also understand the concept of everything is a reflection of you. Very important for my witches, for my spiritualists to truly understand. Magic does not take away the work. Okay? Again, let me make this perfectly clear to you. It provides you with the support to be able to make those transformations occur. Now, I also wanted to talk about reading people's external If you go into someone's house and everything is absolutely perfect in their house, what does that represent about them inside? Are they a little rigid? Are there certain areas that they want to feel that they're always in control of? Is there something lacking inside their life that this is the only way they can have a semblance of control in their environment? Knowing these things will also help you be able to maneuver yourself with other people, understanding them a little bit better. Take a look around you. People think that, somebody who has a perfectly clean house obviously has their shit together. Well, let me tell you something. Dexter had a perfectly clean house all the time, and he was a sociopath. You may fall in love with them, but you might also get killed. You might want to rethink some things, right? We must have perspective here. And you may find that there's somebody who lives in dirt. They may like to walk around naked. Don't want to take on certain responsibilities. Is this a bad thing? Not necessarily. Maybe these people have focused on something else that really matters to them. Maybe they focus on their spirituality. And they understand that there are far more greater things that are important than following the status quo. Now, don't mistake me. I'm not saying here that people who are trying to avoid life may not do the same thing. But the intelligent person who understands better and can see the signs of what's going on will be able to get a better overview of any situation they're put in. We must always remember that direct perception is a form of psychic ability. And it can help facilitate your ability to be able to understand your external and internal environment. We always want to look our eyes up to the divine. We always want to look up to God, asking for guidance. Well, darling, most of the time God is not going to come down in a burning bush, nor is he going to send some angels to appear to you. God is constantly working around you. He's constantly showing you areas that you need to work on, that you need to develop to be able to maneuver and govern your life in a way that is more conducive to you being able to evolve into the being you were intended to be. So, having said that, my witches, my spiritualists, always take into account this plane of existence. Because God works and runs through everything you will ever come in contact with. God will show you in many ways what is going on. What we need to be paying attention to. Coronavirus, we need to pay attention to the fact that there is transformations that are a need to happen in this reality. We need to stop buying into the illusion of everyone being separate. We need to start looking at the fact that we need each other to survive. We need to start putting our attention back on our earth. We need to start putting attention back on humankind. Everybody's at home, stressed out, not knowing what the heck's going on, wanting a little bit of human interaction, right? And all of a sudden, boo-boos, Facebook, all of these other variables just ain't cutting it as much as they did before. Take that reflection and realize that all of these mod coms that we hold, that we have become so dependent on, really do not substitute the human interaction, the connection, the intimacy, the touch. So my witches, my spiritualists, take this into your mind. Take this into consideration. And never substitute certain things in your life. We have reached a point in time where we substitute sex for love. We substitute beauty for substance. We substitute a good career for achievement. But what we don't understand is sex without love will leave you feeling lonely. Having a great career doesn't always mean that you are achieving things in your world. And beauty fades, honey, which will leave you alone. Always. Look at the external and realize what it's trying to tell you. You may find and you may reconnect truly with what the divine has been showing you all along. You know, I have so many people that come to me regularly and they get caught in a rut, and they look at this rut as if it's a bad thing. They look at this rut as if it is, well, just the end. And it really perplexes me a lot of the times, because when I ask a few pertinent questions, you will find that most times people are actually trying to better and understand themselves. This kind of goes along, you know, with the last video I did on Watcha. When a person is growing and evolving, and you are holding in all these illusions of, you know, this is the way things have to be, and I can't really, you know, live in this, and something is not right. And you're not looking at what exactly is going on, because you're so caught up in all these ideals, right? You're caught up in your own crap, and you're not really paying attention. What do you think mindfulness is? It is not an excuse for you to persecute someone else and they're not being very mindful of my feelings. No, honey, you need to be mindful too and understand. Mindful also talks about minding your environment. What is going on? Can you see what is going on? Open your eyes. See clearly. Understand that you are being prompted daily by your highest self, by the gods, by whatever you want to call this universal consciousness. You are being prompted every single day. 9 times out of 10, you just aren't seeing it. Life is a lot easier than we think. We make it difficult. When I go into a person's home or I'm dealing with a client, the first thing I always want to do is I always want to take a look at their external forces. That's the first thing I will do. I will see what is going on. How is the internal manifesting externally? When you're able to do that, when you go into someone's house or you meet somebody and you see how their perspective is, you see how they govern their lives, you see what they do, right? You will now have a better understanding of who they are as a person. How many of us have ran around the house trying to get everything clean because we know someone's coming? I think there was a scene in Absolutely Fabulous where Edwina said, you know, you can tell a lot by the things that people choose for you to see in their house. And that is so true. That is so true. Everybody wants to hold up this ideal of what their life is. And 9 times out of 10, when you actually get to see them at their realest, it is very different than what they are trying to show you. I got an example of this for you. I was dating and I met this dude. And this dude was dressed to the nines. Like, we're talking like hundreds of dollars worth of like his shirts were hundreds of dollars, his pants were hundreds of dollars, he was wearing Jean Fluval shoes. Like, this mofo he looked like he had it together. He lived in one of the most prestigious parts of town, right? And I was just like, oh wow, look at this guy's got it all together, right? Luckily I did know this concept of seeing the external. Now the funny thing about it is every time I went to go pick him up, he would never let me into his house. I could see the outside, which was gorgeous. But he would never let me into his home. So one day, rather than calling from the outside and saying, I'm here, I decided to go up to the front door and knock. When he opened the door, standing in his amazing, probably at least 500 plus outfit, I looked past him and I saw the blow-up mattress on the ground and the milk crate with his laptop on it. The reality is there was very little inside of him that he could hold on to. His priorities were a little bit off. There was a lot of glitz and glamour and flash on the outside, but inside there was something lacking. That was a huge lesson and a huge affirmation to me of just how important it is to not just look at the external, but to look at the internal, and to allow people to see the real you. For us to be able to make these changes, we have to allow the quote-unquote things that we would never want someone to see to be out there, and make it okay for us to be frail and fragile. For us to not always reach for the status quo, to allow people to know where we are at any given time. This will help facilitate change. And this is how we utilize the wonderful blessing the divine has given us to allow our internal to manifest on our external. Now, another thing I want you to understand is people always think, and this is another misconception that they have when we talk about everything being a reflection of you. We are all connected, but we all have our individualness. Okay? And that's a pretty hard concept for people to understand. We are all connected, right? But we all have our own individual experiences. You are not the only being on this plane of existence, and everything else is an illusion. That is not the way it is, darling. What we always need to understand is the vibration that we hold will affect how people interact with us. Have you ever met someone and for some reason you act differently with them? You don't know why. They bring out the best in you, or they bring out the worst in you, or whatever it is. You just act differently. That is you being a reflection of them, and them being a reflection of you. If that concept right there has the power to change how you interact with somebody, doesn't that just give you a better idea of how that can be utilized in your day-to-day life? I get people all the time that are all like, I'm going to be authentic 24 hours a day, and I'm going to... Well, let me tell you something about authenticity. Authenticity is about your core beliefs, your fundamental self. And if your core beliefs and your fundamental self are not going to change and evolve, everything is supposed to change and evolve. Most people think that authenticity is something static, and they confuse it with rigidity. Or they give it a connotation of rigidity. But like Miss Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. Truer words were never spoken, my spiritualists. So, I'm going to leave you with this. Remember that the internal and the external are two sides of the same coin. They are like night and day, and they both need to be taken into consideration when governing your reality. Alright, my spiritualists, my witches, that is our episode for today. If you have not pressed subscribe, you need to press subscribe, join the Witch Please family, and do not miss out on a thing. You can follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, as well as Facebook. You can always send me a personal email at witchpleaseofficial@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment below. Do not forget to press that bell icon so you're notified when a new video comes out, because you know you don't want to miss a thing. I said it before, my spiritualists, and I will say it again. It is a pleasure to have you in my world. It is an honor to have you in my magic. And you are always in my heart. I will see you again on another episode of Witch Please.